Easily, the biggest real estate ripoff is the biggest company in the United States by assets. Now, who is that? If I ask people that question, nobody's gonna get the answer right unless you know the answer ahead of time. It's not a big bank, Chase or Bank of America or Wells Fargo. It's not Goldman Sachs or one of those companies. The biggest real estate ripoff is also the biggest company in America by assets, Fannie Mae. Yeah, Fannie Mae. You've heard the name probably if you've been in real estate, if you bought a house or sold a house or in the industry, and you may know a little bit about it, but I think if you really do a deep dive, you will find not only is this the center of incompetence of the US government, but basically it's just been a huge money laundering scheme for the last 50 years and will continue into the never-ending future until our economy either collapses or somebody shuts this down. Let's get into the details of this. So let's start with what is Fannie Mae. If I go to Wikipedia, which is not exactly a pro-government, not exactly a pro-consumer source, they say Fannie Mae is in 2023 with $4.3 trillion in assets. $4.3 trillion in assets is the largest company in the United States and the fourth largest in the world by assets. Did you know it was the largest company in the United States by assets? I didn't know that. I knew it was big. I knew it was one of the biggest company. You go, wow, that sounds strong. A pillar of success. Well, not really. Look at their stock. Since 2009, 2008 and 9, it went into conservatorship, and the stock price has languished today, trading at under $1.86. It closed. It closed today at $1.87. It's been as low as 65 cents recently. This company that's the largest by assets in the United States, its market cap, which means the value of the company, of its stock, you buy all the stock available at the market price, is $2 billion, which is about the same as, I don't know, less than Zillow, more than EXP, or about the same range as EXP Realty that many people even know who they are. The largest company in America. How can that be? How can that be? It's worth only $2 billion, but it has $43 billion in assets. Something doesn't sound right. Well, let's start with what does Fannie Mae do? So let's see what they say they do. This is from their website, fanniemae.com. It sounds really good. You have a picture of a single guy, of course, not a family, because they're part of the government destruction of the family unit. You have a single man here with 2 kids, and now you have a man here with a kid and a dog. Very important to notice the graphics. There's a husband and wife, I guess, or 2 people together. Okay, nice, without kids. Very important to notice. They're not forming families, not supporting the formation of families at all. But what's Fannie Mae do? We serve home buyers, homeowners, and renters by creating solutions that expand equitable access to affordable housing. Interesting. As a resource for homeowners and renters, we also provide a reliable information to educate and empower you in housing decisions. Well, part of their education is empowering towards their agenda. Again, anti-family. Here's 3 pictures, not one intact nuclear family. There's an important part of the whole puzzle there, if you want to figure that out. So what is going on? Oh, I'm sorry, I left that all off. Here is what's Fannie Mae do. They serve home buyers. This is their mission statement. They don't do any of that. The last person they're helping is a home buyer or an owner or a renter. How do I know that? Because where's the money gone in America? It's gone to, well, they own $4.3 trillion of assets they control. The Americans don't. And by the way, if you look at home ownership during their time period, this is their job, is to make home ownership more affordable. And the affordable index of America now is about the same it's been nonstop for the last 30 years. It hasn't increased at all. You say, well, why should it increase? Let's get into that just a little bit. So home ownership is not going up, and by most standards, much harder to own a house today for the average American than ever before. So what's Fannie Mae do? So Fannie Mae creates rules where the government will subsidize mortgages, and they'll package them up, and they've created what's called a secondary market. But Wall Street companies do this. The difference is Fannie Mae does it with our money as taxpayers. So it's kind of like going to a casino and having a credit card with the United States government taxpayers behind it. You'll never run out of money. Why not gamble? And about every 8 or 10 years, they make a mistake and they lose a fortune, and they turn to taxpayers and suck more cash from us. And so here's an example of where they issue a lender letter. They've decided that in the year 2023 or 2024, they're going to insure loans, single-family home loans, up to $766,000, which means that an average income to qualify, that's about $200,000. So I think this was affordable. That's not very affordable, $200,000 salary. That should be middle income, upper middle income, I don't know. And then in Hawaii, if you want to buy a second home in Hawaii or live in Hawaii, $1.1 million, where you need about $3 million income to qualify. So they're basically financing loans for people who make $150,000, $200,000 and higher. There's no limit. You can make $10 million and get a Fannie Mae loan. There's no limit to it. So they're not helping affordability. They're really pricing people out and using the government's financial power to subsidize their particular program. So what are the results? Well, here's the CEO. I love this quote. The CEO says the housing market hasn't killed the American dream yet. They're saying out loud they're going to kill the American dream. That's their goal. And I talk about that all the time on my weekly email. But buying a home might just take a little longer. Oh, it'll take a little longer for you to get a home. Now, it won't take longer for her. The CEO, we'll talk about in a second. She's making $3-4 million a year, so she could pay cash for a house. You're going to have a tough time getting a house. That's really what she's telling you, okay? So that's the head of Fannie Mae. What does that mean? Well, let's take a look at the head of Fannie Mae. If you said to me, Bill, I want to have a government organization that's going to help home buyers and homeowners that own more, what would their background be? So this Priscilla Almodovar, she's definitely a DEI hire, right? She's female and Hispanic. If that's important to you, just noting the facts there. So what did this woman do? Well, she worked as a campaign policy director for disgraced Elliot Spitzer's campaign in 2005. He was the guy who used campaign dollars to pay for prostitutes and got caught and had to resign in disgrace. And after that, she took a position at the New York State Housing Finance Agency. Here's a woman whose experience was law school and a law firm and then a campaign. And now she's running the housing finance for one of the largest states in the United States. And then she went on to some other investment company. And then she ends up running the largest company in America. She never sold a house. She never built a house. I don't know if she ever bought a house. Maybe. I guess so. Her husband and she are both pretty rich. So, but this is who's designing the entire housing policy in the entire United States, is an attorney who's a politician first and got a job as a housing finance agency second. And that tells you what the priorities are. Now let's take a look at the compensation. One of the things, this is tricky with these agencies, and Fannie Mae is called quasi-government, where the government owns some assets. It's in a conservatorship, but they're traded on Wall Street. So if you look at their income of these people who are running this organization, who are basically taking your tax dollars, gambling with it, and apparently seem to lose all the time, other than when it comes time for them to get paid. Let's take a look at their salaries. This is from their Form 10K, which is a form they filed with the SEC, 2023. Buried on page 197 is their compensation. And so because she had hired, she only made $600,000. She hadn't got all her bonus yet. But you can see that her employees, her subordinates, got a salary of $592, but based on the package she got, it was worth $1.4 million, and then she got a bonus. It's really worth about $3 million. So you can see that her subordinates are getting paid $3 million a year, $4.5 million a year, $3 million a year. She's going to get more than that. And so I'm not begrudging somebody making that kind of money. I think if you make that money, your company should be making money for your shareholders. Your company should be making money for yourself. But when your company is basically going broke, it doesn't seem to make sense to me that all the executives should be making millions of dollars in bonuses. Normally you pay bonuses to people who are doing well and are successful. Okay, so in fact, I saw this was hysterical. I think it's, you tell me if it's funny or not, or if it's just sad. Here's Harvard. Harvard Business School says executive compensation at Fannie Mae is a case study of perverse incentives, non-performance pay, and camouflage. That's from Harvard, not exactly a bastion of the working class, right? These are people who make, who charge student loans $300,000-$400,000, and then people get forgiven as they go to law school, and they think that's normal. They're saying Fannie Mae's compensation is perverse, not performance pay, and camouflage. Imagine what a normal person might say about that, right? That's a Harvard business school person. So what's going on? Well, basically, Fannie Mae took our tax dollars and gambled and gambled. It's kind of like they're playing the red-black game. You really can't lose. You play red, you win half the time. They get paid a salary as long as they're playing the game. And then one day, just like the red-black game, it hits green on the roulette table, and they lost everything in 2008. And so basically, they just went back to taxpayers, sucked more cash from us, and they're playing with that, and the COVID hit, and they lost it all again. So they've been in what's called conservatorship since, I want to say, the 1980s, 1990s, at least 20 years, at least. And what does that mean? It means that normally conservatorship means to avoid shutting down a company and disrupting the economy. Some sort of fiduciary is appointed by the court to oversee running things for everybody's mutual benefit. And so at some point, there was a conservatorship appointed in Fannie Mae. And what's funny is this is from an article dated back in 2019. And this is what governments do. The program never ends. So Fannie Mae says they'll likely exit conservatorship by 2024. This was back in 2019. So it's always like 5 years out. We're gonna solve the problem 5 years from now. Don't worry. We just need more tax dollars, and we need to pay all of our executives millions of dollars of tax dollars. But don't worry, we'll be out of conservatorship by, they say, 2014. Well, are they going to? Most recent assessment of Fannie Mae is this nonsense is going to continue, I think, forever, because here's the latest from National Mortgage News. They say it's going to take about 15 years at the current rate of pay. So they're making just enough money for all the executives who run the company, make just enough money to get millions of dollars a year, keep taxpayer money at risk, and maybe they'll come out of conservatorship 15 years from now. That's what they're telling us. And so at the end of the day, what does Fannie Mae do? At the end of the day, housing's not any more affordable than it was. U.S. taxpayers are on the hook for $4.3 trillion worth of assets, meaning they bought up all the toxic mortgage loans that other banks and investments that don't want to have. That's why they control $4.3 trillion of assets, but it's a company that's worth about $2.3 trillion of value, because the assets they have, for the most part, aren't of value. They can't sell them and pay off debt. They can't sell them and be an ongoing concern. They can only survive with taxpayers continuing to carry the bag and for a conservatorship to protect them from the rigors of a normal company. So the largest company in the United States of America is basically in conservatorship, will continue for the rest of my life and maybe another 15 years or more or forever. And more importantly, not improving housing affordability at all. Their agenda is not even to do that. Their agenda is to keep in business, to finance their projects, to finance their political ambitions, finance their political operatives at the expense of American taxpayers. So that's why I call Fannie Mae today is the biggest real estate ripoff. What do you think? Give me your comments. Put your comments below. Like it, don't like it, subscribe if you like this. Reach out to me if I can help anyway. I'm Bill Gross. This is my podcast, Real Estate Ripoffs. Who should put up next? Have a great day.